Friends, today I have brought for you an adventure and science fiction movie released in 2024, whose name is Survive. At the beginning of the movie, we see a family who have come to the ocean to celebrate their son, Ben's birthday, and make him more special. Everything seems completely normal. On one side, Ben and his father Tom are busy fishing, while Ben's mother Julia and sister Cassie are enjoying the sun bath. Then Julia jumps into the sea for swimming, because Cassie is already busy in her phone. Suddenly, while swimming, Julia feels something around her. When she tried to see, she found the sea to be completely normal. But then someone suddenly pulled her into the sea. But Cassie, who was busy on the phone, did not pay attention to her. Meanwhile, Ben and Tom are busy fishing. On the other hand, drowning Julia calls Tom for help, but no one pays attention to her. Then suddenly Tom noticed Julia and jumped into the water and saved her life. Ben and Cassie also supported them to bring them up in the yard. Suddenly Tom got a little upset with this incident. And as soon as he comes back to the yard, he first repeats his own words that whenever someone goes for swimming, he must inform someone else. After that, to make the environment normal, everyone celebrates Ben's birthday at night. At the same time, Cassie's boyfriend's video call comes, by which Cassie finds out that there is a big storm in the city. Seeing this, she gets upset for a moment, because she and her family were not at a safe place at this time. She immediately tells this to her parents. Everyone quickly checks their safety gears. Meanwhile, she sees many big whales or sharks around her yard. According to Tom, before a big storm comes, whales or sharks do the same, because at that time she could not guess the waves. But everyone's face was clearly visible. Then, suddenly, her yard got a strong shock, and Ben fell on one side. To know the reason for such a big shock, Tom went into the water. Then he saw a big dent on the yard, which was probably due to a collision with a shark. After checking this, when Tom came back to his yard, his shoulder was slightly injured. Because Julia is a doctor, she stitches Tom's wounds. After this, Tom gives everyone a bad news. That because of the shark's dent, these people will not be able to move forward. Now they have only one way left, to call someone for help. But at this time, the signals have also stopped. Even the yard's radio was not picking any signal. In this difficult time, Tom repeatedly tries to connect to the nearby network for help. But Tom was also convinced that he is on a shipping line, from where the ships often pass. Someone or the other will definitely see them. During these talks, he suddenly hears a loud voice from the outside. When he went outside and saw a meteorite was about to hit the ground, and the other was coming towards their ship. To save himself, Tom quickly turns on his yard's engine, although he knew that if he did this, his ship would be completely destroyed. In this way, he saved his family from the meteorite, but his yard's engine gave an answer. Then he started feeling very sharp shocks. Tom quickly took his family down, and first of all, he put a life jacket on both his children. Even during this time, he kept trying to find signals on the radio. With sharp shocks, Cassie started vomiting. Julia also started bleeding from her nose due to the injury. So Ben fell further down in the yard. The fast waves of the sea also broke the glass of their yard. A loud voice came and suddenly darkness fell in front of them. When everything calmed down, everyone was unconscious. When everyone came out of their yard, they were surprised to see the view outside. Their yard was on a high rock. What happened? No one could understand anything. Only barren land was visible all around. When Tom took out his compass, he was surprised. All the poles here had changed. The South Pole had come to the North Pole, while the North Pole to the South Pole. Where there was water, there were now mountains of soil. He understands that something is wrong here, because all the water in the sea had shifted from there, and now instead of the sea, it had become a small island. Cassie was so shocked that she locked herself in a cabin. She starts crying after seeing her boyfriend's photo. After this, Julia started collecting the leftover food, while Ben flies all the balloons of his birthday in the air, that if someone is alive somewhere, he will definitely come to help them. While Tom tries to contact someone through the radio, although he hopes that he will not get any response. But the surprising thing is that he got a response. And this response was given by a captain who was in a small submarine at that time. And he also knew the story of the shift of the sea. According to him, this happens once in 700 years. And at that time when this happened, he was also in his submarine like Tom's family. And he also survived this accident. Captain now tells Tom that the poles of the earth have changed. At that time, the sea will also come back to its place. And at that time, its waves will be very dangerous. That's why the captain advises Tom to find a high place. And go there. There are more chances of your survival there. Hearing this, Julia immediately tells her children to pack. While Tom requests the captain that there are more chances of survival in your submarine, can you keep our children? Then the captain says that he wants to do this, but can't do it. Because his submarine is very small, his companions have already been killed. And in this way, only 2 people have a place in his submarine. Still, Tom requests the captain to somehow adjust both the children. The captain had now agreed to it, and he gives his location to Tom. After knowing the location, he tells Julia that they need 2 days to reach the captain. That is, before the waves of the sea come back. These people will send their children safely to that submarine, after which their lives will be saved. The next morning, this family was ready for their new journey. Then Tom saw that a man was coming here with his dog from a distance. Tom goes to him for help. That man was very tired. That's why Tom gave him water. After drinking water, the man attacked Tom instead of saying thank you. Standing far away, Julia saw all this. That man is attacking Tom badly with a dagger. Now he started running after Julia. Julia quickly goes into the yard to save her children, and telling them about the danger, hiding both of them in the cabin. Along with that, she gives a flare gun to Cassie, says that run it only when you need it very much. Just now she was telling all this, that it reached the door of the killer yard. To escape it, Julia herself goes to the washroom. In the middle of this race, she puts tape on the wound on her shoulder. There the killer starts searching the yard, and as soon as he gets something to eat, then he started eating fast, as if he has been hungry for many days. After eating, when the killer went behind him to kill Julia, then he saw that the cabin from where the sound was coming was empty. Actually, Julia had already left a big hole in the boat, but this killer's dog saw her, and as soon as he saw her, the dog started barking loudly. And to make her quiet, Julia kills her and hides under the boat herself. When the killer saw his dog dead from a distance, then he understood that Julia is outside the boat. Now, as soon as the killer got off the boat to catch her, on the other side of the Julia boat, making her way through another broken glass, she came inside the boat, but in a little while, she was caught by the killer. The killer tortures her a lot while holding her by the hair. He starts strangling her. Julia struggles a lot to save herself. Casey, who was watching all this from the cabin, she thought this is the right time to use the flare gun. She fired the flare gun here, which did not hurt that man much, but his yard started burning. Now, to save herself, Julia quickly left this yard with her 2 children. While leaving the yard, the killer attacked Julia again. This time Julia kicked him and pushed him out. As soon as she went out, Casey and Ben started crying, seeing their father's dead body. Julia was also crying near her husband. That's when she saw that the killer had come out of the yard. It's not safe to stay here anymore. She runs away with her children. While running, these people were very tired. When they realized that the killer must have left them behind, then the 3 of them stopped to rest behind a hill. But here too, Ben was just crying. How does she give him water while taking care of him? But Ben refuses to drink this water. In the meantime, Julia's eyes fell on the killer, who was standing behind them. The 3 of them start running to escape from the killer. While running, the 3 of them were tired, but whenever they look back, the killer is behind them. To escape from the killer, these people now reached a place where poisonous water was present. But Julia tells her children to get out of here, and as soon as they left here, Ben's condition worsened. Julia realized that Ben was dehydrated. She had the last drop of water, which she gave to Ben. But this little water was of no use. Look at Ben like this. how she loses her control. She no longer believed that these people would live or not. But Julia tells her, "Do what I'm saying. We will move forward, and I know I will save you." At the behest of Julia, Cassie and Ben started walking again, and after going a little further, they saw a plane which would have crashed years ago and fallen into the sea, and today became a witness to this incident. These people hide in that plane. Here, Julia has a Tom's shirt, in which she gets her family photo taken last night. Seeing this photo, Julia becomes very emotional. Cassie and Ben fell asleep because they were tired. But Julia got up in anxiety and came out of the plane. Cassie also came out in a little while. But when the killer was about to attack Cassie from behind, at the same time, Julia comes from behind and attacks him. And she kills him by stabbing him. Finally, this threat was removed. After that, Julia slept peacefully. The next morning, she saw that the killer's body was in very bad condition. Some insect bit and pulled out the killer's teeth. That is, the threat has not been removed yet. Anyway, now they had to go to the submarine where the captain was. When Julia was looking at the map, then Ben gets very thirsty. 11:17. He starts drinking water from the nearby pond, although Julia had forbidden him to drink water from here because it was a poisonous pond, but Ben was so thirsty that he did not hear a single word. Then Julia had to hold his head and take it out. Because of drinking this water, Ben was sick. Now Julia and Cassie make a shelter for him, where he had just rested for a while. Suddenly, Julia started hearing strange noises. When she went outside and saw, then a lot of crabs were coming towards her. To escape them, she started running, and she saw a very big ship far away. This was a cargo ship, and she was attacked by this incident. There were a lot of containers in this ship. Some people had taken shelter in these containers. As soon as they saw the crowd of crabs coming from the front, they all go into a container and lock themselves. Julia asks for help to open the door. She screams. But now there was a big storm of crabs behind them. To escape them, Ben and Cassie climbed on top of the container. And Julia also started climbing up. But by then a crab bit her. But Julia came up by removing it. She immediately tied her injured leg with her scarf. And the next moment she fainted. Ben and Cassie saw that the crab went inside the container. And those crabs attacked the people there. Although the people who had weapons, they tried to kill those crabs with weapons. But how many crabs did they kill? Anyway, it was morning and Julia came to her senses. She saw that her 2 children were not here. She was completely scared because this was such a dangerous place that anyone could die. Julia started crying out of fear of losing them. But from a distance, she saw Cassie and Ben coming, who actually went in search of food and weapons. Also, the crabs were not visible here. Seeing them, Julia breathed a sigh of relief. After that, Julia started looking at her wounds, while Ben was looking at his collected weapons. Julia contacts the captain on her radio, who tells her that the sea creatures have also attacked her. She is very much injured. That's why I can't help them now. She also told Julia that the sea will soon return to its place. This is the reason why all the creatures have returned. But now they don't even know in which direction they have to go to reach that submarine, because their map was lost somewhere in this desert. That's why the captain shoots with a flare gun in the air. And Ben sees that direction. They quickly move towards the submarine. From a distance, they saw a small yellow submarine, but now it seemed impossible for them to reach it. Because to reach the submarine, they have to go over the toxic waste. Now Cassie thought Julia's words were nonsense, that she will save her children. These people argue here. And Julia scolds Cassie and tells her to move on. While walking, her fate leaves her again. And there is a sliding in the middle of these mountains. Because of this, a big stone fell in front of Julia, and she got stuck there. Cassie didn't want to move forward without her. But then Julia promised her that she would save her brother at any cost. Cassie takes her brother and moves on. And when these people reach the submarine, they don't find anyone there. Both started knocking on the submarine's door badly, but then the captain came out from behind, who was badly injured. The captain told them that now there is no chance of his survival, and 3 people can sit in the submarine. As soon as he heard this, Cassie turned back, where her mom was stuck. At this time, Julia was shooting the crabs coming close to her with her gun. The crabs were about to reach her. Cassie comes to him and shakes his hand. With his help, Julia finally managed to get out of there, and they both ran back to the submarine. And without any delay, they sat inside the submarine. While putting on the belts, they saw a very big wave of the sea coming from the front. As soon as they hit the submarine, the three became unconscious. And when they came to their senses, they were surprised. Their submarine was not in the water at this time. That big wave of the sea brought their submarine close to a city, which was probably completely destroyed by this incident. But this broken city is a hope for Julia and her children, a hope for a new beginning. And with this story ends here.